If you're a new player or a returning player, it can be very hard to find useful information about a game in the age of clickbait and React content. I've created this compilation of guides that have helped many PGR veterans when they started playing the game. The link is in the description and it might take a while to load because there's a lot of media, so you might need to wait a while if your internet is slow. Let's get started with a quick overview for the guide. At the start, I've provided all the download links for PGR. If you can't access the official download link, you can download directly for the PC, Android, and iOS from these links over here. If you're having any issues installing the PC client, you can check out the FAQ and troubleshooting compilation that I've linked. I've also provided a list of mistakes to avoid. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make is to pull on the wrong banner, so always make sure the pity is 60 and you've selected the right character before pulling on the banner. Similarly, I've provided a huge list of mistakes to avoid for new and returning players. Make sure to read through all of this and not to skip anything in order to not waste any resources or any of your time, so that you can progress to the end game really quickly, having optimized your resource investment. I've also provided the link to the Beginner's Guide for Progression by Grey Ravens. This is a great way to level up quickly and unlock all the game mechanics like dailies and weeklies, which are your primary source for black cards. I also highly recommend finding an active mentor from the official PGR Discord server or from a guild that you want to join. Completing mentor missions is one of the fastest ways to level up because they give a lot of EXP and you also get very good rewards from it. Just make sure to find an active mentor and most of it will be taken care of. I've also provided a link to the playlist for Beginner's Guides by Rexlent. He covers all the basics of the game that you need to know, like orb mechanics and matrix perfect dodge, so make sure to check that out. I've also provided the recommended settings for the PC client and made some updates on it, so check this out as well. And if you're wondering which S rank to choose from the free selector, then I recommend either Luna or Froome, but there's also an in-depth guide by Spider2B on what you should choose based on your roster. And if you're looking for character guides, I highly recommend checking out these two playlists. Rexlent and Spider2B make very good character guides, which a lot of the PGR veterans follow. So if you want to get up to the pace, then these are the best resources for you too. Eventually, there will come a time when you will encounter a boss in the story modes or in the end game and realize that you have some sort of a skill issue. But don't worry, Rexlent has a great playlist of boss guides where he goes in depth and analyzes all the moves of the bosses and gives you recommendations for what to do against those moves. I've also provided a link to the Grey Ravens website. It's a PGR fan site that is officially supported by Kuro Games, so it is one of the best sources for any information you need about the game. If you are confused about anything, this should be the first source to look at. Mainly if you want explanation on the game modes like Warzone, Pain Cage, Norman War, Stronghold, Golden Vortex, Babel Tower, Border Pack, Dorm, and Interludes, this is a good source for it. So I recommend you to keep this site bookmarked. In the guild guides, you can again find the link to the official PGR Discord where you have specific guild channels for each server, like Guild NA or Guild SEA. So make sure to go look for the guild that you want to join over there because there are many guilds advertising there currently. If you are confused about the guild system, then Jace Wu has made a great guide on it. If you are struggling with optimizing your DPS rotation, then Oki makes great videos for guild battles and he often uses trial characters and puts his tips and recommendations at the end of his videos. So highly recommend checking his videos out. And there is a new mode for guilds called the Guild Expedition, which has many guilds confused, and there is no in-depth guide yet, but there is a quick guide by Dustfly which you can check out right here. In the Miscellaneous section, you can see that I've linked the Border Pack Elemental Buffs and Debuffs spreadsheet by Demon Dio. Basically, for the Border Pack mode, you have buffs and debuffs for very specific stages. So I recommend you to use the teams that there are buffs for, and you want to clear border pack as soon as possible to get those permanent buffs. There's also a time stop mechanic guide by Quietius Courier, which is a guide for the latest mechanic that was added to the game. So I highly recommend checking that out. It's a very good in-depth guide about what the time stop mechanic is and how it affects your DPS rotations. White Shadow also created this resource estimator tool, which is very useful for figuring out how many units you can max out and also how many cubs you can max out given the resources you have. I've also given a link to Demon Dio's event shop comparison. He makes these event shop comparisons for every event, and they're super useful for planning how to spend your event currency. So I highly recommend keeping an eye out for his event shop comparison Reddit post. Lastly, I have some tips for everyone. You don't have to play the meta. Play the game in the way that you find to be the most fun way to play. Alright? You don't have to play the meta, you don't have to force yourself to play in any certain way. Just do whatever is the most fun for you. Another tip is that this game is very F2P friendly. You can remain free to play. You don't have to spend any money whatsoever to be able to clear the end game content. And you can get new S rank debuts every 2 patches, and most of the A rank constructs are actually very powerful. Like I use my SSS plus number 21 over my SS Kamui Tenebrian in the Dark team just because I find her kit to be more fun and she does about the same damage as him. Lastly, don't give up. Keep practicing. Don't burn yourself out. Spend wisely. Ask for help if you're struggling, and take breaks to stay healthy, or else life will come for you. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you found this useful, and shouts out to everyone in the PGR community who have been creating informative content to help others. This has been very useful for many players, so thank you. If you like this video, please hit the like button, and if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments, and if you want to see more PGR and Wuthering Waves content, then subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching and have a good day.